Even elite athletes need support to reach their goals. Pour aller plus loin que ceux et celles avant eux et pour laisser un sport meilleur à ceux et celles qui les suivront. Athletes Can represents members of Canada's senior national teams who compete at multi-sport and world championship events. Nous avons pour mission de parler d'une seule voix puissante en faveur d'un système sportif centré sur l'athlète, where athlete rights are respected, où les préoccupations des athlètes sont entendues et prises en compte, and where athletes influence key decisions made in Canada's sports system. Nous formons des athlètes leaders qui influencent les politiques du sport et inspirent une solide culture sportive. We're a safe and inclusive place to share your perspectives and concerns on the issues you care about. Et ensemble, nous suscitons et réalisons des changements. We were the first organization founded by national team athletes for athletes. Depuis, nous avons toujours été des leaders mondiaux en matière de représentation des athlètes. Join Athletes Can. Vous y êtes chez vous.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the 2022 Lead National Championships. We are here at the Hub Climbing in Mississauga. I'm Pete Woods here with Bonnie DeBryan. Bonnie, it is time for the finals here at the Lead National Championships.
Oui, c'est vrai. Bienvenue tout le monde. On est ici pour les finales en difficulté au Hub à Mississauga. On a eu une voie très technique pour les gars tantôt aujourd'hui et une voie avec beaucoup de puissance pour les femmes. On a hâte de voir ce qu'on va voir ce soir.
Exactly. They just came from a semifinal earlier today. The men were tested on a very technical slab climb. The women were tested on a fairly powerful roof climb. They've changed spots in the gym. They're climbing different angles. They're going to get going in about 5 or 6 minutes, and we're going to see exactly what the route setters have in store for us. All right, Bonnie. We had very interesting climbing during the qualifiers. We had very interesting climbing during the semifinal. The gym is a little bit short, so we have compressed the difficulty into some more compact, cruxy, bouldery styles of routes. So we're not, I'm sure that's still going to be the case. So we're very excited to see what we have in store for you. Before we get going, we're going to do our land acknowledgement here on the broadcast. So, in the spirit of truth and reconciliation, all of us here at Climbing Escalade Canada acknowledge that we gather on the treaty lands and territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit and the traditional territories of the Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee, Wendat, and Huron people. We also acknowledge that the many First Nations, Inuit, Métis, and other global Indigenous peoples who call Mississauga home. We welcome everyone.
Dans l'esprit de vérité et de réconciliation, nous tous à Climbing Escalade Canada reconnaissons que nous nous réunissons sur les terres et territoires du traité des Mississauga du Crédit et les territoires traditionnels des peuples Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee, Wyandot et Huron. Nous reconnaissons également les nombreux membres des Premières Nations, Inuits, Métis et autres peuples autochtones qui habitent à Mississauga. Nous accueillons tout le monde.
Okay, Bonnie, we are about 7 minutes away from our first climber. We're going to run through the women's final first, and after that, we're going to do the men's final. So, have a quick look here. We're just scrolling up. 26 available points. So, Bonnie, each hold, sometimes 2 points per hold on a match, but basically every dedicated hand movement is going to net you 1 point on the way up a lead route.
C'est vrai, on va voir que à chaque prise que tu montes, tu vas avoir un point. Donc, il y en a 26 points disponibles pour la voie des femmes. On est en train de le voir maintenant.
Just a quick thing to point out here, you see on the right side the 2 X's. So that is a mandatory spot where you must clip that quick draw with the X from that black undercling with the X. We do that for safety reasons because the climbers get into a place where they're climbing for points. So they will often make extra moves past where you naturally would have had a clipping stance because they feel maybe a bit pumped or they're not going to get as much out of their forearms as they hoped. So instead of stopping to clip, they keep climbing. So we have a couple of mandatory clipping holds that show up They showed up in the semifinal as well, and that is to make sure that everybody stays safe, and they kind of get dialed into, you must clip here before you carry on. So not really something to look out for, but you will see that they must clip from that hold.
And otherwise, you can technically clip from wherever you can reach, but you are not allowed to climb above the draw that once your feet are past them, or once you can no longer clip it. And if that happens, then you get the points from which you could have clipped.
Right, and you're allowed to climb backwards. You'll be told by the belayer or the judge you must clip, and you must climb back down. So safety matters. Otherwise, I mean, climbers under pressure and trying to win things make all manner of questionable decisions. And we're going to have a look at the men's route here as we pan up as well. Bonnie, take a quick minute here. Our sponsors, of course, are very, very important. It's part of how we are able to put on events like this, volunteers, the local staff at the gym. So we want to take a minute to say thank you to Sport Canada, Arc'teryx, Bold Holds, and then Tourism Mississauga. Of course, we thank the hub here in Mississauga, their staff, all of the volunteers, the judges, the belayers. A huge part of this event is making sure that the climbers are safe, so having good belayers in-house. And Bonnie, the route setters, never to be overlooked, and never should they be overlooked. They're often in the shadows, but they are creating the playing field that we are seeing this comp play out on.
Oui, il faut vraiment qu'on remercie les route setters parce que sans eux, ça n'existerait pas, les compétitions. Et on a une équipe extraordinaire qui a travaillé cette semaine pour cette compétition-là. Hayden Jones, c'est le head route setter. Puis l'assistante, c'est Simon Parton. Et l'équipe, c'est Aidan Doyle, James Romanuk, Jackson McDonald, Mika Hosoy, and Sachi Adachi.
A huge thank you to the route setting crew. Setting lead routes is a lot of work. And then forerunning, of course, Simon Parton also chiefed the Boulder event. So he's been thinking about route setting for 8 or 9 days straight here. I mean, so he'll be happy to see first climbers tied in and just ready to go. That means that their work is done, but their stress is maybe just getting started. It's part of the process. The route setters get a little bit edgy. They want to see their routes get climbed. We saw no tops in the semifinal. We saw people get very close within 2 or 3 holds on the women's side, and again within 2 or 3 holds on the men's side. So,
yeah, typically you're going to see some stopper moves. And so you have these specific areas on the route as you're going up where people seem to be running into problems. And then the next set of people seem to get past that. And then there's another kind of section that trips people up. So the route setters want separation. And they want to make sure that we have, a ranking of 1 to 8, ideally. Mm-hmm. But it is really tricky to get 8 very different places where people are going to fall. So it's possible that we have some ties. And so you need to think about your time. That is a way to separate. That is the way that we separate ties in a route final.
Yeah, they have 6 minutes to climb the route. If that clock runs out while they're on the wall, then that's it. You're done at the last hold you touched when the clock ran out. And then, as you say, we will use to break some ties. A good look there. We saw on the window at the back some fan signs put up.
Oui,
people supporting their friends.
C'est vraiment cool. On a Becca Frangles est ici. Elle fait pas la compétition à cause que c'était pas vraiment, ça marchait pas avec son horaire de training, d'entraînement. Mais elle a des amis qui est ici en finale aujourd'hui, puis elle est ici pour les supporter.
Yeah, there's a few athletes that aren't here this year. The Baudrin brothers on the men's side are also not here for their training reasons, and Indiana Chapman, last year's winner. So they're planning. Alana Yip is not here. Yep. Of course, if you're used to seeing Sean McCall, he's actually rehabbing an injury and is in Torino, Italy, at the IFSC conference. He's the athlete rep for the IFSC. So he was speaking at a conference earlier this weekend, but he's hoping to get his shoulder back in shape, at least to be climbing again in this World Cup season. So we have a very deep field, even without those 2 or 3 top climbers. And as you say, they're here to support. And just like that, I mean, we're underway. Bronwyn wasting no time coming down from the stairs from isolation and stepping right into the start of this route. And she is going to get things kicked off. 8 finalists here this evening in Mississauga.
Yeah. Elle a même pas pris 2 secondes pour regarder la voie.
No, that always makes me just a bit nervous, but it was only 15 minutes ago that they had a look, so I trust her process.
Yeah, and I mean, I think sometimes the more you look, the more nervous you get, so you might as well just get on with it.
Mm-hmm. So the women are climbing out the far left side of this lead area. It has a couple of steeper sections in it, a couple of changes in angle, and it's pretty thin, Bonnie. We're gonna get 8 good looks at it, but there's a very crimpy section here, pretty balancy, careful footwork.
Yeah, I like this this line that the women's route is on because it does change angles so much, which will be great for testing different skills. And it also gets a maximum, maximizes the amount of moves they can get out of the athletes, which is what you want in a route competition.
Yeah, and just right away here you see the flat angles and then the changing corners here. You need to shift from right to left. It's uncomfortable, the feet are a bit high, and this is a committing move very early on this route.
Allez, Bronwyn. Oh.
Really good catch from the belayer there. Bronwyn a bit indecisive.
Yeah.
That's one of those moves where the route setters are testing your ability to make a commitment decision. So do you trust the foot? Can you pull and push into that Gaston move, so that sort of reaching across your body into a Gaston it's accurate, it's technical, it's difficult, you're at extension. So that right away the route setters are asking a lot of these finalists.
Yeah, nobody loves to get in a body position that is that unstable, like that out of balance. And they're forcing you to do that. Like, one of the techniques of route climbing is always finding a place to put your feet, your arms, you're hanging in a certain way so that you're always feeling somewhat in control. Mm-hmm. And this is forcing you out of that comfort zone. It's you just have to trust, like you said.
Yeah, and that everybody that steps out onto the floor for this final is hoping they're going to climb near the top of the route. So definitely disappointment from Bronwyn there. She would have wanted to have been able to show a little bit more what she was capable of through that section and then up farther into the route. But that is the nature of lead competitions, Bonnie. It's one shot. There is no try it, come back. There is no, try it as many times as you want in 5 minutes. It is mentally more difficult than boulder style round or boulder rounds with that flash style where you get to come and try again and try again and try again. You have to get dialed in and you have to get really focused. And you have to be ready to try hard and run through your options. Every plan needs a plan B, every B needs a plan C, and you have to be able to run through them very, very quickly.
On a Cedar Pigeon ici, à 16 ans, de la Colombie-Britannique, et elle va être très contente d'être dans les finales. Moi, je suis très contente pour elle aussi. Ça fait longtemps qu'elle compétitionne pour les juvéniles. Mm-hmm. And to make finals in the senior category is a real sign of her progression as a climber.
Yeah, and at 16 years old, you're going to see quite a few teens across our finalists on both sides, men and women. So the youth climbers climbing into the open category as soon as they're able to, getting that extra experience and seeing if they've got what it takes, to make that steady transition from the youth circuit to the open circuit.
Yeah, and she is outdoors a very accomplished boulderer, and however she does better traditionally, or at least so far, in lead competitions than in bouldering ones. I'm sure we just have to wait for more bouldering successes for her, but she did come fourth at the Youth Nationals in May. And let's see what she can do here today.
Yeah, and given that half of the field is a youth field, there's doing well at youth nationals is a really
very
good hallmark
sign.
And a good sign.
Although they have different categories, right? So some of these other competitors who might also be in youth would not necessarily be against her at youth nationals. So on sait c'est où le premier crux.
Yeah.
On va voir.
We have seen it. So there's that little thumb catch you see.
Yeah, her left thumb there on the white side, it was, couldn't really see it before with Bronwyn.
So this is uncomfortable to clip from as well. So you need to, yeah, she's backing up into a better clipping stance, I think. But letting go, the wall kind of changes angle right where that is as well. So it's accentuating the barn door because it's giving you room to generate more momentum.
Okay. Let's see how she does.
Yeah. Just got it high on the, in control. That right hand lock off being, that was a key.
So not as dynamic as Bronwyn made it look, actually. But she still went through that uncomfortable body position.
And then still into not super comfortable body position.
Yeah.
Just you even see the way her ankles are turned, trying to make sure she's keeping good purchase on the feet.
Yeah, this is like some layback territory. This is like really interesting climbing around shapes.
Yeah, the changing corners. And almost taking advantage of the change in shape of the wall to be able to put some of those volumes and have them be falling further away.
You do have to really understand where you can get a foothold out of a volume. It's not just about where there's friction on the on the volume, but that matters. But it's also, they're facing the wrong way, so you need to pull with your heel rather than push down with your toe. So these are definitely skills that these route climbers have been practicing.
Yeah, and even you see here, I mean, a really good handhold, probably the best hold on the route, and no really functional feet to deal with.
No.
So these are
She's
smears.
just smearing.
Yeah, there's nothing you're missing at home on the screen. There are no jibs there.
Looking good, Cedar.
Yeah.
Looking really good. Ali.
Getting up towards turning the head wall. So it's going to start to
get a sneaky knee bar?
Maybe it's dual textured over there. We'll see how that starts to play out. But it is definitely a little bit burlier now. You see Cedar.
Oh, nice work.
Watching the crimp. The feet are quite good there.
Oh, she's doing great. Come on. Get through it.
And now
a little pump.
Yeah, little pump and a
Ooh,
big
look
sloper.
at the slope.
And that pocket that she's going to, it's
Come on.
a sloping. Yeah, didn't like it. Grabbed it left hand. Didn't like it. It's a bad sloping two-finger pocket. But that's some very good climbing.
Yeah, she was up there in 21. That's interesting.
Just we'll see what the score comes out at. The route map we're looking at, this hold isn't actually marked. So maybe it's a foothold. That's entirely possible that's intended to be a foothold and not intended to be grabbed.
Well, ça se peut parce qu'elle voulait pas le prendre avec sa main, dans le fond.
Yeah, so maybe that's not exactly as designed, but that's up to 20 plus. So the way the scoring works, when you see a plus in the scoring, it means that climber has controlled hold, in this case, hold 20, and then has made a positive movement in the direction of the next hold on the route. So you can't just sort of flail out wildly to the right in this example because you're not moving in the direction that the route setters have intended the sequence to go. So in order for that plus to be applied, you have to be using the hold and then going in the right direction. So we'll see. You can follow along, cec.results.info. We'll keep you appraised of where we're at. And I will keep one up here to see where we're at.
Là, on a Kaya Taylor-Ainsley en deck, 16 ans, de la Colombie-Britannique, elle aussi.
Okay, 20 plus then. So
yeah.
they did give her moving in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
As we see Kaya Taylor-Ainsley embarking, also not wasting a whole lot of time to stop and look around.
Yeah, you're right. Another 16-year-old. Elle a eu 5e aux nationaux de Juvenel en mai. So, no surprise.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason why these athletes are here.
And she was a semifinalist at Open Nationals last year, which is held this year, but last year's championship.
Right.
In the same calendar year, but into the next competition year. Oh, Kaya.
A little COVID postponement that happened there.
Let's see. So it's, if you're just tuning in, you are watching the third climber out on the women's final here at the 2022 Lead National Championships. Kaya Taylor Ainsley reversing position here, trying to find a place to go get clipped. I'm Pete Woods. I'm here with Bonnie DeBryan, and we are just getting started. The women are climbing first. The men will follow. And Kaya still...
Yeah, she worked it out. Working it out.
Yeah, needs to clip this. Yeah, that's...
Ooh.
Oh, my goodness.
Very precarious. Come on.
Very precarious.
Oh, she's doing a double clip. All right.
Did she get that one?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, no.
I think she has to clip that, Bonnie.
She does.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's unfortunate. So she climbed her way into a position where she was unable to clip that, unable to find a position to let go, and then I think it was just behind her knee.
Yeah.
And then she elected to go safety and clip the one up top, so at least she wouldn't take an awkward fall.
She might have thought she had it, actually. It was very all jumbled up in her leg.
Yeah, and I think she probably had more climbing in her as well. It's difficult to have that be...
oh, la pauvre.
Yeah, it's...
Elle est pas contente, c'est sûr. Elle va être triste. That's definitely, as a competitor, that is not the way you want to come off the wall.
No, exactly right. And we compete because we enjoy the environment of competition, but you also have to take the ups and downs in stride. It is very difficult to make mistakes, have slips, have errors, even to climb your best and not make a podium.
Yeah.
There's so many places where you can compete. We only give spots to the three. And if you can find your victories, sometimes it comes a day, a week, a month later. But it's difficult in the moment. And there's something about lead, Bonnie, where you have to stand there and untie your knot. And all you want to do is go sit under, crawl under a chair.
I know.
It's a very difficult spot to be in. So
and we can't
always hard to watch.
Yeah, and we can't underestimate, like we like to say, well, that wasn't, that's not the real part of the route, that she didn't get to show what she did on climbing, but in terms of climbing. But the truth is, it's all part of competition lead climbing. It's clipping is just as much a part of it, and rope management, and it doesn't feel like a fitness issue, but it is a mental aspect that you need to have dialed just as much as making the moves.
And the route is hard as nails.
Right.
To this point. Like that move, it made everybody think twice.
Yeah.
Well, Evangelina Briggs now embarking up, also getting right into the business. She is always in good bouldering shape, so it'll be interesting to see how she deals with this. Is a very, this move feels very boulder cruxy.
Well, that's funny. But it's very techy.
Mm-hmm.
So, doing the clip beforehand is definitely the way to go.
And even just the stance with the lower foot seems more comfortable.
Yeah. That was even a little more comfortable than the way Cedar did it with her toe around the corner. Like Cedar did it from here almost, but.
And once you're there, you're in this barn door scenario.
Nice.
Good work from she does have her
strong
shoulders internally rotate, and they're strong through a huge range of motion.
Yeah.
So used to seeing her in this position and not looking worried. If I did that, Bonnie, my next trip is straight to the physio. Do not pass go.
Come on.
Good work unwinding.
This is super impressive to see Evangelina in such good route climbing shape, given that she hasn't actually done much route climbing for a while. I heard before, potentially not since April. So that just goes to show how strong this girl is and how smart of a rock climber, because she can basically tie in after months and make finals.
And had been dealing with a bit of an injury over the summer, so wasn't training at full speed.
Right.
And just overcoming some of that into here, getting what looks to be an almost comfortable stance. And I get, hopefully reading that you can't climb up into this undercling and get a good rest, because as we saw from Cedar's climbing, there's no feet up there.
Yeah.
So she's finding a little bit of trickery here. Your whole body gets tired climbing routes.
Whoa.
Whew. So even that up on that toe just to create that position, Right, you're going to feel that in your calves.
Nice.
Trusting the dual techs.
She's being very smart. I can tell that she's thinking about all her moves. I mean, this is classic Angelina, right? She's a very methodical rock climber.
Yeah, that was everything is intent right now. There's no throwaway movements. Even these little wrist flips, these little shakes that you see, those are just to get the smallest amount of blood back in your forearms, in your fingers. You basically, when on a route like this, there's going to be no resting stance. So you're going to have to take it where you can get it. This heel hook maybe is going to afford a little bit of recovery. She looks like she's going to take a few shakes.
Yeah, these are now, on approche des gros slopers.
And it becomes go time. So not a lot of time to rest now.
Yeah, nice.
And there you go. See,
that's not a thing.
It's not a thing.
Oh, that right toe is on nothing. Oh, yes, Evangelina. Come on, girl.
Just latching
Come
that
on.
at full extension of the
Yes.
fingertips.
Man, she's got the flexibility too. Allez.
Angelina Briggs, is she running out of that push in the right leg?
Oh, she's a little too shy. They've got to move that foot up.
Oh, just trying to readjust. She was just unable to find mobility in that right leg to push, but an excellent piece of climbing from Evangelina Briggs.
Yeah.
That
She'll
is going
be
to
at
get
21
her
plus.
21 plus.
Yeah. Oh, j'espère qu'elle va être fière avec ça parce qu'elle a super bien fait. C'est vrai que son talon était un peu trop bas. Elle avait pas le reach jusqu'à la prochaine prise. Il fallait qu'elle monte son pied droit un peu.
And then as she tried to drag that right heel in, just lost purchase. It can be very hard when the thing that's holding you on is the thing you need to move.
Yeah.
It's really hard to create enough sort of unweight to be able to make that little shift. Sometimes that comes down to a toe switch, or even there, she realized that she didn't have it in her right heel, and while trying to fix it, that's where that comes in, plus the fatigue, plus,
a little bit of nerves.
Plus.
Yeah, all the things.
All the things that come with climbing a lead finals. Evangelina Briggs, excellent climbing for somebody who is, for all intents and purposes, in the shape of a boulderer.
That's right. I wonder, I'd like to go back and see exactly how it all came undone there, because it happened very quickly, but did she have her right hand on to try to Yeah,
she came back.
She did, yeah.
And then I think there was just so much coiled up in the right side, and then the left hand was, that crimp I think is going to be stealing juice from the forearm almost as soon as you grab. You saw her grab it, and then her whole sort of body language changed to, now I'm in survival mode.
Right. And actually, I think another issue is that her left leg was so low that, getting the right heel that high, like she kind of almost used momentum to get it there. And so then if you're trying to readjust it, you don't have that momentum anymore. You're too high. So, yeah, I think it would have been a very difficult readjustment to make.
Chloe Earl, now 21 years old, from British Columbia.
Yep, a fine performance at the bouldering also. Finalist there. 21 years old.
Making good decisions. Clipping very early. I love that stance. That's the best clipping stance I think we've seen.
Well, she is one of the taller ones, so she'll be able to reach from the lower foothold.
But also trusting the crimp, I think.
Sure, yeah. But, for example, I'm not sure Cedar could have reached from her foot down there, even with the crimp. But
and making that transition move seamless, not even thinking twice about it.
That didn't even look like a crux for her.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's interesting.
That's new.
Ooh. That was a little high risk for my liking, Pete.
A lot high risk. A lot high risk. That was three things that happened in rapid succession, all of which could have ended in disaster. A slip was, half a foothold away there, but Chloe Earl keeping it composed.
Elle a fait la même affaire sur l'autre voie tantôt aujourd'hui. She's just got some confidence. It's great.
Yeah, when you really trust your hands, you can make rash foot movements, and there she made both.
Yeah.
She made an interesting cross-body swap there. And now just taking a minute to
very cool.
Bring it back together.
Man, the laces on her shoes look quite
long enough to be
long.
troublesome. Yeah. A little half slip there on
Oh,
this.
no. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh.
I was just saying a little half slip leading up to that, and she had
Yeah.
to suddenly wait.
Yeah.
The undercling is quite high. It's very wide as a pinch.
Yeah.
And then again here
And
you see just on the way up she had a slip on the
Yes,
on the right
on the
side,
right.
and then had to move quickly. And now you're on dual textured, and then here going to clip. You know, you kind of add extension and just keep an eye on that right foot.
Oh, man.
And then unable to recover in that undercling as it
Yeah.
is. That's
Yeah.
not the kind of hold you're going to save that kind of slip on. Disappointment for Chloe, who was
Definitely
moving well at the beginning. And
didn't
then,
look tired.
No, but 2 or 3 slips on your feet will cost you, unfortunately.
Yeah, she really was trusting that, glossy side of that volume, rather than just because it feels better because it sticks out. But it probably would have been better to push on the wall because it has more friction.
Yeah. If you're not very familiar with competition climbing, or you spend too much time in the gym, when we say dual textured is because the big holds like that, the friction texture is only on pieces of it. So on those triangles, the climber is looking down for their feet at the shiny side. It gives off a texture similar to your kitchen countertop. It doesn't afford a lot of friction, and then you have to step very carefully. And as you saw when Chloe, the one slip led to overweighting the other foot, which then doesn't have enough friction to hold, and then you end up, I think she had 2 or 3 steps at it, and none of those were going to regain the friction, unfortunately. So that brings us Sophie Buitendijk, 22 years old, from British Columbia. Has been climbing very well the last couple of years, has been hunting all around the podiums, but has not been on top of one.
Yeah, that would be a very cool event for her. And you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, that is. That's why we make them climb the roots.
That's right. So she was in finals also at this event last year. So if nothing else, she would maybe want to just best her 7th place at that event.
Yeah, and she's a very composed climber. She climbs very confidently, which is always great to see.
Ooh, she went with the thumb, not a Gaston.
Oh, goodness.
That actually looks really good.
It does.
I would not have thought that, but it worked out really well. It looked almost less awkward than the other way.
I mean, it affords you the ability to lean into the wall instead of
Yeah.
when you turn your shoulder over, it pushes you almost away from the wall.
But you have fewer fingers on the hold and more on the volume. So, as a pinch, it's clearly just as good a hold. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It's true. We're very tempted as climbers to put fingers on holds as opposed to wrapping them around volume shapes. But sometimes the volume shapes can be a better stance. All right, here she's getting up there, and she is using those feet on the friction side of the wall. She is not trusting those dual techs. Ali Sophie, she's climbing very well.
Mm-hmm. And she's had some World Cup experience. So she's been out there at a couple of events, 2018, 2019. So she
Nice.
knows what it takes to climb harder than you want to.
Yeah,
But looking very good. Has climbed to here faster than anyone.
totally, in quite a lot of confidence. Okay, she's going to take that and not take it. This is like a humorous little repeat that
A
we see.
theme.
Look, she readjusted her foot really, really high there. That was wise.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And she is looking composed.
Yeah.
Now coming back down. I love it.
Interesting. No.
I love it. Toe. Stay in the toe, Sophie.
But the volume's in the way. Well, je suis pas sûre.
No, you're right. You're right. As she pulled up through and the angle and the camera changed, I
Yeah.
think that your shin may be in the way.
Yeah, I think the heel is the right way to go, but it's awkward.
Yeah, it's hard to generate through the hips, but here, yeah, the shin got in the way. She didn't like it. She went back to that.
Yeah, but it just, you can see here.
Yeah, she didn't have enough drive.
Yeah.
And you're getting that like ad extension sort of falling
Yeah.
away. Like everybody does, I think she'll wish she had a few more moves in the tank. But good climbing
Yeah.
from Sophie Buitendijk.
Yeah.
I
So
think-
she's tied, right, with Evangelina?
That'll be a 21 plus for her.
So curious to see the time, but I feel like she climbed it faster than Evangelina.
Oh,
Like she
I think
kind
you're
of
right.
whipped it through
She
there.
did sort of speed through there.
You know what's interesting though is like to watch her, like with Evangelina, we didn't really get a sense like of redoing the heel. There, Sophie had a lot of opportunity to replace that heel, and it wasn't a comfortable position at all. I think the left foot is so low that you have to be really bendy to get that foot high, and especially because it's not a dish for your heel either. It's
No,
like a wee.
it's a sloper.
It's a sloper.
Yeah,
so
you're not biting.
Nah, I think it's going to be, you got to place that foot up, and then you're going to have to really try to rock your hips up over top of it and trust it. And I think it'll be bad before it's good, if you know what I mean.
It sounds like a throwaway sentence, but you are 100% correct, is that it'll start bad,
Yeah.
and as you roll up through it, it will get good. And that
No,
is
I meant
exactly.
it.
No, I'm just clarifying for the people at home.
Right,
That
right,
although
right.
it sounds like you were talking yourself in circles there, that is exactly spot on.
Right.
That it will be bad before it gets good. Emi Takashiba now getting up off the ground, which
Yeah.
leaves she's the second place semifinalist coming in.
right.
It goes
So-
quickly. The finals.
Yeah. Yeah, there's only 8 climbers, and there's only one route, so.
They burn through it pretty quick.
Emi Takashiba, 18 years old from BC.
Clipping late. Anytime you've got to back up, you're just now. The
This
route
is-
setters have stolen some time from you. They've stolen some forearm gas.
This was the cedar stance.
Yeah. She doesn't look sure.
Overbook. Oh, no.
Oh, no. Emi Takashiba is going to fall low on her finals route.
Oh, that is a disruption.
Wow.
Oh.
It's like I
la
just didn't. You
pauvre.
could see the
What?
shaking her head. I didn't have it. I wasn't confident.
Well, I think this is the mental aspect of this game is she got into a position where she just wasn't expecting to be,
Uncomfortable. Yeah.
and not sure how to get comfortable.
And you see the shot of her there going to pick up her stuff right beside Babette. So Babette knows that
Yeah, that
she
was
fell
fast.
very low. And I don't know
Yeah.
what that does. I think she will have thought that Sophie climbed quite high because of the gap before she was brought down the stairs.
Yeah.
But she'll know that Emi fell low. And does that make you nervous of the move that maybe you weren't nervous about?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think you're nervous no matter what, and you just got to focus on you.
So Babette Roy, our bouldering national champion, is going to be our last lead finalist here at 2022 Nationals, and she is going to take it away.
Oui, le potentiel d'avoir une double gagnante ici, ça serait quand même impressionnant.
She was at 4 lead World Cups this season. Didn't make a semifinal, but in the depth of field, in the 100+ athletes climbing at a World Cup, and this is really her first full season on the World Cup circuit. That is a good piece of exposure. And the World Cup routes twice as tall, and maybe even approaching a number grade harder.
All right. Can she please solve this clip?
Oh, the reach.
Oh, no, her too. Incroyable. Incroyable. Mais là, ça veut dire que ça va être peut-être Sophie
Yeah. Sophie,
and
Evangelina, and Cedar.
and Cedar. Incroyable.
Babette Roy
Oh,
falling low
On a techie section.
on the techie section. She did make
I mean,
a
she did
long reach.
Yeah, Yeah, and she didn't clip yet either, which was... Oh man, les émotions pour les filles aujourd'hui.
Yeah.
Oh man, il y en a beaucoup qui se sont tombés assez bas. Ils vont être
So
déçus.
we'll watch here how confident she is.
She
She's
does
like,
look confident.
yeah, she's like, no problem. I have this
Yeah.
great thumb catch. I'm going
Yeah.
to clip those two as soon as I unwrap this. And what exactly?
Oh, the right foot. Yeah, but in many ways, the right foot was it had to come off.
Yeah.
That was the whole plan, was to take the right foot off. But it didn't happen deliberately.
No. Bonnie, I'm a little bit lost for words.
Oh, man, that is really not the way it usually goes.
I feel for all the climbers
Yeah.
all the time
Yeah.
when they slip, when you know they have lots of climbing left in them.
Yeah.
And as we were saying at the top, on a lead route, you have one shot. So you can slip on a boulder, you can slip on the start move and shake it off and come back again. You can not top a boulder and come back, and you get 3 more across your finals round. Climbing a lead final is dialed in 100% from the ground to the top. You have a margin for error that's very, very small. And I always want to see climbers climb to their potential.
Yes.
And the route has to be hard. You saw Evangelina and Sophie get within 4 holds of the top.
Yeah, right.
So it can't be any easier.
No.
And you have to make them squeeze, and you have to make them
Yeah.
uncomfortable. And unfortunately, a few victims down low.
Yeah.
It took four climbers out at that spot. So
Yeah.
half the field making that
Yeah.
unable to make the right transition through there. So
And I mean, maybe it's a little bit like has to do with the fact that this is a slightly shorter wall than we're, have seen. And so they have to test them not necessarily on, just pump and endurance, because we don't have enough moves for that. And so there is a super technical section, and that's just part of climbing.
it is, and it is an unfortunate part of climbing, and you will see all kinds of slips and trips, and you will see all kinds of people knowing they had more to go, and you'll see the range of emotional reactions to not doing what you thought you were going to be able to do. And unfortunately, we saw a little bit of that on display on the finals today.
Well, let's be clear. Technical climbing is not the unfortunate part of climbing, just the slipping.
The slipping.
Because technical climbing is awesome, and it's a skill that you need to get good at. But what's also interesting is the climbers that did better today qualified lower. And I wonder if there's something about the pressure that affects the technical climbing in this way. Like sometimes if you're nervous, you can stay strong, but can you stay quiet when you're nervous and when you have pressure?
Yeah, that anything that gets your heart rate going a little bit too fast is going to maybe get one foot shaking a little more than it should. And I do want to take a second to say that was an excellent catch from that belayer.
Yes.
I mean, she came
Very
close,
to
but
the ground.
was up with her feet at a draw at a very low point on the route. So, always big respect to the belayers who were put in the most difficult places belaying in competition. So, huge thank you, of course.
Et peut-être t'as raison finalement que Babette, peut-être ça a rentré dans sa tête que l'autre est tombé très bas.
Yeah,
Finalement,
entirely possible.
Ouais.
Entirely possible that she was thinking about it, and she's like, oh, this move is spinning people off.
Yeah.
But she had a decision and looked like she just ran right with it. So we're getting set for the gentlemen. They're starting a little bit. I think I'm going to double check my notes. We had it at 6:15, and I was never entirely certain if that was 6:15 pending, no later than, because if all the women took their full time to climb, that's where we would be, or if we weren't going to start before that. If that's the case, then we got about 10 minutes to go. So we will, it doesn't look like David Trudeau, who we see sitting in the chair, is getting ready to go anywhere just at the moment. And if we are, we might step away for 10 minutes and come back just when he's ready to climb. So just give us a minute to hang out here. So we're just I know that the production team wanted to showcase the gym here in Mississauga has this huge dragon feature that comes off one side of the lead wall. So here is the dragon at the hub in Mississauga. I did hear a few quiet rumors about how great would it have been if the lead route climbed up and across the head of the dragon, but we are not going to get that here this afternoon.
Doing that.
Yeah, it does look like David Trudeau is going to be waiting until the 6:15 time slot. So let's, everybody sit tight. If you're watching from home on a Monday afternoon, a Monday evening, maybe get yourself a snack. Rewind some of the women's footage.
Yeah.
And watch
Analyze.
that again. Do a little bit of analytics. There's a lot to consider in the way that route needed to be climbed and the way that it was climbed.
I think the clipping will be, I think you'll notice that the women that clipped early got through that section better.
Yes.
Everybody that tried to clip after fell.
We'll just give you that. We now have the results have settled long enough that we think they're probably true. Sophie Buitendijk is going to be your 2022 lead national champion.
And you just said she was circling podiums.
Yeah. Evangelina Briggs is going to be your silver medalist. They're tied on the route, but that'll go to either time first and then count back. So there's a separation there that puts Sophie ahead of Evangelina. And then Cedar Pigeon, climbing out of 7th place, is going to get herself a bronze medal at 16 years old.
Very nice.
Senior Nationals. That's great. Chloe Earle, Kaya Taylor, Babette Roy, Emmy Takashiba, and Bronwyn Carnes rounding out our top 8. I'm going to say don't go anywhere, and we're going to go, we're going to stay on air, of course, but Bonnie and I are going to step away for a minute, and we'll come back just a couple minutes before David Trudeau is ready to start, and that's going to be in a little bit less than 10 minutes. Okay, so we made a guest call from our spot up in the booth here, and we're back. So there was a bizarrely inconsistent amount of time between when the last female climber finished and the men started. So he waited longer than the normal amount of time, but didn't take it to 6:15 like the schedule said.
Mais on est ici.
On est ici, exactement, Bonnie. On va commencer avec les gars. So here we are. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are catching up, we are at the lead finals of the 2022 Senior National Championships. Pete Woods here with Bonnie DeBryan. We just watched the women climb, and now we're getting set for the men. 8 of the best male climbers in the country are about to embark on this 30-move route.
Oui, on en a vraiment eu des upsets un peu avec des femmes. Là. C'était vraiment des surprises. The top climbers slipping low. Well, 2 of the top climbers slipping low. And some of the 7th place climber in 3rd. So anything can happen, folks. That's the moral of the story.
Yes. You've got to strap in. You've got to do all the moves. You've got to be ready to adjust and take your... Jeez, David Trudeau. You got to have a plan A, and you've got to be ready to make quick decisions if that movement, if that beta, if that sequence is not serving you well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, dynamic right off the hop. So this is going to get the men on their fingertips. It's going to get them squeezing a little bit. This move here, pretty powerful. Oh.
So the men will be pleased, I think, to at least have a different terrain to show their skills on today.
Yeah, they want to
Or
be able
tonight
to
rather than this morning.
Yeah, they want to be able to grab stuff.
Yeah, I think they'd like to show some biceps maybe
Yeah.
instead of some calves.
Yeah. You're exactly right. This is a little more squeezy, more powerful. They get a short introduction, and then you see them into it. David here, this trying to get comfortable on this pocket underneath this volume, and then a series of sloping pockets in a row. So these are going to start to really pump your forearms out. Not a lot of lip to grab. So every time you're encountering sloping holds like this, Bonnie, especially on a lead route, you're squeezing a lot harder everywhere.
Oh, vent en haut. OK.
Interesting.
Allez. All right, that one looks big. Ça, c'est correct, là. OK, David est eu 4e au provincial cette année. Et je pense pas qu'il attendait ça, là.
Yeah, on insecure feet through there, of course, and he leaned over to make the clip, and that foot blew. You see the shrug.
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you. I slipped. He was moving well, but if you were watching the start of the broadcast, watching the women's climb, we mentioned it then, we'll mention it now. It is a shorter gym, so the difficulty of the routes is compressed. So you're not getting lead-in moves that you can climb in and out of rests with. You're getting a stack of boulder problems. So just keep an eye on the right foot. When he goes up to make this clip, he never really quite has it, and he's fine until he has to weight it for real. And as he leans out, that's what happens on slopers. And you got to be tuned in, Bonnie. Every movement has potential to have consequence.
Yeah. It's hard on the ego to have a short route because, like you were saying, there's a lot of filler moves in the long routes at the IFSC World Cups, This is why they've started to rank them, the pointage is changing and they're giving very 1 point for the lower moves and then 2 points for the middle moves and 3 points for the higher moves because, they're worth more by the time you get there. But that's because they also expect most people to get through those first moves. But here you have a lot shorter sections. And so the opening moves are, you get into the business very quickly.
Yes, and then it stays in the business.
And it stays. Yeah, that's right.
So that Finn Battersby coming out now, 21-year-old from BC. The men have had about an hour in isolation since they previewed the route, so they do have 6 minutes at the start of the round. All the finalists preview the route together and talk through the sequence, try and work out what they think they're going to do. Sometimes they discuss beta, sometimes they don't. You see people lone wolfing it out there, just doing their own thing. They don't want to get confused. I remember talking to a couple of the finalists at U.S. Nationals a couple of weeks ago, and everybody's a bit different. People say, I like to go through the sequence myself and then go check in and see if I'm doing anything dumb. Did everybody see the double undercling rose move? And everyone looks at you like you're insane. You think, okay, I've read that wrong. Let's go back and have a second look at it.
I don't even know what that could be.
Finn Battersby just sort of making that. Here, maybe it looks like they're not being very careful with their feet, but there's not a lot of footholds to choose from.
Yeah, he's looking actually pretty careful, but he's a very stoic-looking person all the time, on and off the wall.
Yeah, he doesn't ever look like he's making rash decisions.
Not a stranger to the finals either. He came 7th at this event last year.
Last year, February?
Sure.
I love it. Do we call it last year? Do we call it 2021 even though it was held in 2022?
Last year's circuit.
Last year's event. And moving through that pocket section quite a bit quicker than David did, actually. And then I love the clip and go.
Yeah.
I love a clip on the way to a hold.
Yeah.
Every efficiency you can get, Bonnie, has value.
Tu vois, lui, il a pris en dessous au lieu d'en haut. All right, so now...
And now getting, even there, just much deeper.
Yeah.
David was on the
Toe.
edge. Yeah, right in there with the toe.
Nice. That beautiful lock off.
Finn Battersby moving very well here.
Yeah,
looking
he's
very confident.
Yeah, that's what I was... Exactly the word I was going to use.
La confiance. And now it gets squeezy. So if you can get...
the angle's changing here.
Yeah, and there hasn't been a single shake at any point. Maybe this stance will provide a little rest. That undercling, at least you get on your biceps for a second. And you see the angle change, the wide pinches here.
Nice.
Finn Battersby
Allez.
getting into the compression moves and not able to hold the return swing. That's good climbing, Finn Battersby, absolutely. So he got up into where the holds start to become
pretty bad.
Very bad.
Mm-hmm.
And even now as he looks up, I love that continual evaluation. Did I do what I needed to do? What was happening? So look at these pinches here, Bonnie. The feet are up beside you, and then just trying to get on that, held half the swing.
Yeah. I mean, maybe he could have got just a little bit deeper in the right hand, a little bit higher.
A little higher, perhaps. Yeah, you might be right on that. Just be able to pull down a little bit more, a little less, of the squeeze compression.
But the difference, it was really subtle.
Marginal.
Yeah.
So they're walking back out into the crowd.
Yeah. I mean, quand les athlètes ont fini, ils peuvent écouter les autres. Ils n'ont pas besoin de retourner dans l'isolation. Parce que c'est fini après ça. Matthew Rodriguez.
Having a look back up.
17 years old from Ontario. Came third at Youth Nationals this year. That would have been in junior. I think. Maybe A. 18 and 19 is junior.
Yeah. Just thinking about using a foothold and then changing his mind.
These they're all climbing relatively quickly.
And I think maybe because there is no place to really get a rest, that instead of climbing carefully into a rest and then back out again, they realize that it's once you turn the engine on, you got to take it all the way to the finish line, and there is no pause and recover in the middle. So it's about moving quickly. This little heel scum is interesting. Yeah, it's not taking a lot of weight, but it's controlling movement at least.
All right.
It's going to go interesting through here to clip on the way by. I don't mind that. And it takes a little less lock off to get there. So that looks efficient.
Sure. Ooh.
And this careful cross move.
Ooh.
Controlling the swing. Matthew Rodriguez. I'm moving maybe even quicker than Finn was to this point.
That might be important, as we saw with the women's. Something to keep in mind. That's maybe another reason why they're climbing quickly.
Yeah,
they know there could be ties.
This is a tough spot to clip. He doesn't look he's even going to try. He's just going for points. Yeah, he eschewed the clipping stance of the undercling of the purple. And I think as soon as he went to the second pinch, he knew that he wasn't going to clip from either of those, maybe hoping for a little toe hook, and just went for points. So he's going to be half a hold behind Finn, kind of making a movement. So here,
how do you figure?
He just elected at this point that.
Didn't they fall at the same spot?
I'm not. Maybe I'm just thinking that clipping that quick draw.
I don't think you get points for clipping.
But that movement. No, I guess they're both pluses. Those are both pluses.
Yeah. So it will be determined by who climbed faster. Actually, who's in front.
Yeah, I think I was thinking that Finn, because he controlled the swing back through, might have been given hold 26, which was the big blue sloper. But I agree. I'm not confident in saying that. I'm just saying that he grabbed it, he held it, he swung out, he swung in, and lost it on the way back out.
Yeah.
But as I'm looking at the scores, they're both going to be a 25 plus, and Matthew Rodriguez is going to jump ahead either on time or on countback. One of those two things. It's pretty rare that they have the same time down to the second.
Yeah.
So that's probably going to be that reason. Maxime Terrien now climbed out of the deep in the field into the semifinal. He came out third or fourth and climbed extremely well through the technical section. Just a youngster, 15 years old.
Yeah.
getting ready for his final.
Yeah, very interesting to see that just difference in size. Like, he's just a smaller athlete, too, compared to some of the others.
Yeah, I mean, 6 years younger than Finn there. That makes a big difference. And experience. So, yes, they're experienced at 15. You go to some youth national championships. It does give you experience, but you're climbing with the big kids when you come out to senior nationals. You did do that move smoother than everyone else, which is that tracks for how we climbed in the semifinal.
Ils grimpent avec sa montre. Je trouve ça toujours bizarre, le monde qui font ça, mais il y en a beaucoup qui le font.
I can't. They're climbing with their belay cards on, which also I can't. I'd take everything off, but climbing with your watch would drive me absolutely bonkers.
Yeah, me too. But, you know.
Yeah, everybody's.
Got
you
a thing.
get used to what you get used to.
Katie Brown used to climb with her watch on all the time, I remember.
Maxime Terrien climbing carefully, measured here. Just trying to make decisions about.
Ooh.
It looked like he thought about trying to.
Allez, Max. Je me demande si c'est quoi le problème ici. Il n'est pas confortable de tout.
No, I mean, everything's facing to the right. Yeah, he
voilà.
needs something with some opposition.
Allez.
But that's taken its toll for sure, Bonnie, on the right hand.
Yeah. Oh, man, his right arm must be getting pumped.
Yeah, and there's no respite. This is a big cross-through move.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Maxime Terrien is going to get undone by not being able to find a clipping stance. So we spoke about it early. We spoke about it in the semifinal as well. That, clipping quick draws is part of lead climbing. They train it. They practice. And making sure you find your stance. So here you saw him start to grab. Oh, this is when he did come through. He did originally start to clip and lose his balance. Then he found the heel hook. But this is such a big move after spending, 15 seconds on that too. It's a shallow pocket.
It looked long.
Yeah.
Ça avait l'air loin pour lui. Mais il n'était pas confortable de tout dans cette section-là.
No, and clipping the quick draws, you read those stances, you find your clipping stances from the ground. You need to be comfortable saying, I'm going to clip from here, I'm going to clip from there. And then you have to make decisions quickly. And he tried to hold that tenuous half a barn door for a very long time before deciding it wasn't going to work.
Yeah, c'est vrai. Il n'a pas fait une décision assez vite.
Evan Lau now, another youngster, 15 years old as well.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, he's coming off winning Youth B Nationals earlier this year. And I do remember him being much, much shorter not very long ago. So he's gone through a pretty quick growth spurt and has gotten very tall. And he did climb like a tall climber, which maybe was a sudden joy. Like, oh, I get to be a tall climber now.
Well, that's what I was just going to say. He's 15 as well, but quite a bit taller than Maxime. Obviously, we all know that's not, doesn't necessarily mean anything per se, but it does sometimes make a difference in moves. Yeah,
it can provide you with different stances, can give you maybe a foothold to put you in a resting position someone else couldn't get. And it can also go entirely the other way, where you can get pushed up into a small box and you are not comfortable because trying to get into the right positions puts your weight not over your feet. So everybody has an opinion. Most people just get used to the height that they're at. One of the things about transitioning out of youth climbing into open climbing is that you do have to relearn to climb as you grow and your angles change. So it's part of the process is to get used to climbing differently perhaps than you did before. And now being very careful, just almost going the wrong side.
Oops.
Oh, so that was at extension, but now recovering. We'll see if he has to turn the jets up to move quicker here. Evan with a bumping through all three
Yeah, that was.
I don't know we're going to see that again.
That was interesting, but he's got to readjust because he's going to have difficulty getting to the next move from the. Yeah, there we go. Okay.
Yeah, so maybe not as efficient as he drew it up.
Yeah.
But he's through.
It's okay, yeah. That's the thing. He made adjustments along the way. Puis là, il se trouve dans la bonne séquence.
Yeah. And then you ask a lot of the right hand earlier, and then he asked a lot of it again with the triple bump, and now you're asking a lot of the right hand on a pocket on that reach through move. So you are overstressing one limb. Evan, now good climbing. That's going to put him up just, in between David Trudeau and Matthew and Finn. So all of that adjusting, I think, and then from this move, that hold looks big, but you see there, it's quite shallow. And then this move here, you just doesn't have enough lock off on the right shoulder.
Also,
and even bumped himself. He went under.
And I think he needed to go over.
Yeah, I think that's a good call.
Yeah. Yeah, an interesting, I mean, I don't know what the others did, but.
Over.
Yeah, I think he got in his own way.
All right, Guy McNamee. Bonnie.
Yes. Are we?
Civit on.
Oh my goodness.
We're into our top 3.
Amazing. Okay.
Finalists. Guy McNamee, your
Boulder National Champion.
Just crowned Boulder National Champion.
That's right. 6e à cet événement l'année passée.
And also someone who's had some World Cup experience this year. So he did a extensive boulder and lead. Did not carry as much success through the lead side of his World Cup season, but did get to climb in 4 World Cups. And that, again, you cannot understate knowing what that does to come back, and it changes the way you train. So you sort of dial everything up when you understand the level that you need to get to be a World Cup competitor. And Guy, we could see. I'm not going to say it. You know what? I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it. We're just going to watch Guy climb, and we're going to see how it all plays out. So Guy McNamee on his birthday, turning 20 today, making that hop move. Almost oversold it. And he's moving efficiently here. Always I love that little inside flag, Bonnie.
Yeah, that was super nice technique.
Yeah, subtly technical, and then clipping from the sort of the more laid back position of that left hand crimp instead of the shallow pocket. Even that little heel. Yeah, very technical climber. Always has his wits about him.
Yeah, he's reminding me of the way Evangelina and Sophie climbed, actually. Just, you could tell the brain was working on every move.
Clipping on the way as Finn did. Guy McNamee coming into the sloping pockets, trying to find, a little heel hook. A little half shake maybe. What's he smiling at over there?
The camera.
Oh my goodness, I just looked down as you say there's a photographer.
Holy smokes.
Oh, Guy, if you can carry this through. That
was crazy confidence.
Just a little bit cheeky. I don't mind it, Bonnie. I don't mind it.
No, I'll take that.
Chalk bag has.
I mean, he's already feeling pretty satisfied, I would say. So, and that's a nice place to be.
Yeah, you've gotta be careful here. The step through, that's gonna make the move.
Under. He went under.
Feet in a different spot.
Oh,
he doesn't like it.
Allez, Guy. Come on. Qu'est-ce que tu vas faire?
McNamee, no, you're not gonna.
I don't like it.
It just got a bit quiet in the room. Guy McNamee with
Holy smokes.
Houdini match. Oh, wow. Has he got a good clipping stance here?
Or do you mean the ghost match?
Depends which side of the border you're from. John Muse, if you're watching.
Ghost match.
All right, Guy.
Come on.
There's work to do here.
Man, he really made a lot more moves than I think was necessary.
Yeah, he's probably spent about a minute here where everyone else just
time-wise,
through.
that will not play to his advantage, so he's better he better get past where the others were.
Yeah, and I don't like that he's electing to clip from this pinch, but he does.
Because he's strong as
And he's
going to
chalk from it. Guy McNamee locking off the pinch.
But
a little half match.
I was wondering why no one was taking that
That's
thing.
a foothold.
Maybe that's
Yeah,
why.
it's because it's a foothold. Guy
Come on.
McNamee needs to get up over this thing. Maybe
Ooh,
spent
the
too much
foot?
time.
Oh, dang.
No.
Yes.
I think you heard him scream there even.
Yes. Come
Guy
on,
McNamee,
dude.
can he get over the top of this? Not quite.
But that'll put him in front of the others.
It does. It puts him one hold ahead of Matthew Rodriguez and Finn Battersby.
Incroyable. I think that heel hook was key. Man, il a dépensé tellement d'énergie dans la section avec des pochettes, des petites.
They push après they push après they push.
Yeah, there were like 17 pockets. That's insane what he just pulled off.
Yeah, he did burn through a lot of gas, second-guessing the cross-through move. And you just, the route setters ask questions of you. Are you prepared to make risky moves? Are you prepared to make this commitment? I mean, I think we'll have to show the replay for a full minute to show you all the decisions that be. But here, it's too much. That'll go down as a moment, absolutely, whether he wins or not.
That was beautiful.
And then here, Bonnie, this heel hook lock off.
I mean,
you saw him wind up and then say, no, I'm going to do this.
Yeah, that was so smart because you know that he would not have stuck it if he had thrown.
No, and you just unable to create enough friction to match.
Yeah, he couldn't get, he wanted to bump and get a little bit higher.
With that right hand, I think, just getting gassed.
Yeah.
The match in the pocket was also just a lot of work.
Yeah, c'est trop weird, par exemple, parce que quand on a vu Finn et Matt, c'était comme, on dirait que c'était pas vraiment compliqué comme beta.
Yeah, and it's all about what you're comfortable with. TJ Foley, 18 years old, from Alberta. Climbed extremely well in the semifinal. And it might seem obvious that we say that because he qualified in second place, but the way they climbed the route is more than the place they get to.
It's true.
And he climbed with confidence. He made excellent decisions, didn't second-guess himself, and just climbed till he ran out of gas. So I was impressed watching TJ climb earlier this morning.
Well, and you have to acknowledge that you can climb through a techie slab section and make it look easy, or you can climb through a techie slab section and make it look hard. And I would say that both Sam and TJ made it look, well, easy is pushing it, but smooth.
Smooth, exactly. Yeah. It's never, I guess, easy.
Yeah, that's too much of.
No, but it does. It looks easy, and that's the point. Is that it looks like it's clean and crisp and smooth.
Yeah.
And they did exactly that.
Yeah, they were not flailing around. Feet did not slip. They just put their feet on the holds and climbed. And others got through it, but just made it look a little bit more dicey.
TJ now, what is he? Oh!
Speaking of dicey, leg behind the rope. What happened here? There was some.
He didn't like the first pocket and went back to the. He didn't like the third pocket, the first of the big three.
Right.
And tried to reverse it as an undercling, and it didn't stick. So here he didn't really like it and went back and thought, that I don't like, and I'm just going to come back under and cross over. So I don't know what he didn't like about this. And then he tried to make this work, and it just dry fire. It just popped right out as soon as he pulled on it.
Crazy.
So he overcommitted to that hold.
Also, his body position didn't actually look like it was going to accommodate that move.
No.
No,
that would have been
a
lot of sort of lock off to
be
hip.
Twisted.
Yeah. If you could Bonnie and I we're climbing the route over here. We're basically getting into the position that would have taken, and it would have been very awkward.
Yeah, that was not a, speaking of decisions, that I would say that was not a wise decision.
Yeah.
But, they have so much going on in their heads at the moment. Like, you just can't, give them too much trouble for it.
No, you're 100% right, Bonnie. There's so many things racing through your mind on top of adrenaline, on top of maybe a little bit of anxiety of climbing in a final.
For sure.
And you're getting pumped maybe sooner than you thought, and then you grab that hole, you're like, oh my God, it's not as good as I thought it was. I have to do something I don't like. Yeah. And now, instead of plan A or B, you're in like plan F. You never actually thought through.
Yeah, and that's the worst because you know that you qualified. You're the second semifinalist. And you know that some of the other climbers have been there for a while. It's I think a little shock to the system when you get prematurely to a section that is not what you felt it was supposed to be.
Yeah, that is going to bring us our final finalist of the evening, Samuel Tikuvara from Ontario, the elder statesman of the finals at 25 years old. Has been competing for a very long time. Climbed a lot as a junior. I think he's taken a few years off competing.
Yeah, not a lot of results that we found for recent events.
At all, but has stayed in shape. Clearly. So Sam Tukuvara is going to bring it home for the men. We'll see what he can do. He's got to get up into past the second last hole. These, both Finn Battersby and Matthew Rodriguez climbed way out of their qualifying position to within 2 holes of the finish. So Sam has work to do to get ahead of them.
And interestingly, we are in the same position that we were on the last climber in the Boulder final, in which Guy is sitting in the provisional first place and could get knocked out.
And we just need to see what happens.
What is going to happen?
So you almost always have your fate in your hands on a lead round because if you top the route, odds are you're going to win the thing.
Ooh. Man.
That was bold, but maybe efficient.
Risk-taking.
Risk and not loving that clipping stance. That's a lot of right-hand lock-off.
Yeah. That's what TJ needed to do, by the way.
Yes.
Nice.
Okay. Good.
I know, it's nerve-wracking.
It is nerve-wracking. Sam Tukuvara making a couple of
lock-off clip.
Yeah, interesting decisions.
Okay, now let's see if this cross-through works a little better for him.
Over.
It's crazy how all of a sudden this is becoming some crazy puzzle.
Yeah, and I think it's because as you cross your body, that pocket, the pocket gets really, really bad.
I know. Oh my goodness! So there we have our final again.
Sam Tukuvara is going to fall low on this
the upset.
men's final. It is. So watch here. He doesn't love it. He resets. He's in great position, but as you go left to right, this pocket just gets bad, and you're asked a lot. And just as he's grabbing the crimp on the cross through, the right hand blows. Bonnie, that is going to put Guy McNamee another gold medal.
Yeah, that's
double national champion.
That's amazing.
Guy McNamee. I believe we're going to try and catch a word from both of our finalists. So if we can wrangle them, Bonnie's going to go down and interview our 2 winners. And we are going to hang out here until she gets there. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it. It goes quickly. I hope you enjoyed the coverage of our lead national championship final today. A few surprises. And that is always going to be the case. Surprises are part of the deal. It's not even unfortunately or fortunately. You have to climb the routes. You have to do the moves. You have to get into your headspace and get the work done. Of course, if you slip and you think you had more in the tank, then you're going to be a little bit disappointed with your own climbing. But I hope that you enjoyed the excitement, the action. We saw lots of different processes to get through the routes that were put out here. As we were saying at the top of the broadcast, it is a bit of a shorter gym. So when the final is only 30 or so moves, you have to compress the difficulty. So we need to put more moves, more difficult moves, more risky moves, more out of comfort, awkward moves in a much shorter period of time. Whereas on a longer lead route, you might be able to sort of just get through a sketchy section and then find a place to catch your breath. Here you get through a sketchy section straight into another sketchy section. So that becomes part of the battle, is that you need to be able to keep it together even when things are not 100% in the style, or they're not unwinding the way that you expected them to. So I see Bonnie down there is just hunting finalists. They disappear so quickly. We asked them to stay within striking distance of the roots of the podium. So hopefully we're going to get to catch up quick enough with your two winners this evening. That's Guy McNamee and Sophie Buitendijk. So Sophie hunting around podiums, national podiums, been 4th, has been 5th, has been 6th, has been 7th. And then tonight she managed to put it all together, climbing well earlier today, of course, qualifying yesterday, getting everything done to put herself onto her first national championship. And Guy McNamee has been here before. He's won youth nationals. He won lead nationals in 2019. He was 6th earlier this year, and then won Boulder Nationals just a couple of days ago. So very exciting for Guy, and then to have repeated after a couple of years as lead champion. Again, you can see Bonnie if you're watching. She's down on the right-hand corner, mic in hand, just waiting to see if we can catch up. I'm going to take a minute, of course, to thank our sponsors. That's Sport Canada, Arc'teryx, and Bold Holds are sponsors of the CEC, Climbing Escalade Canada, and then Tourism Mississauga. And then, of course, we're at the Hub Climbing Gym in Mississauga, so thank you to them for hosting with us. All of the volunteers that were here, all of the belayers, all of the brushers, everyone that it takes to put on a national championship. Your route setting team, Chief Route Setter Hayden Jones, Assistant Chief Simon Parton, and then your setters were Aidan Doyle, James Romanuk, Jackson McDonald, Mika Hasoy, and Sachi Adachi. They're the ones that make the magic happen, putting the climbers in uncomfortable positions over the course of the last couple of days. And I actually hear over the PA in the room asking anybody who's seen Sophie or Guy to send them back down to the podium. I see Sophie running out of the corner of my eye, so I think that's who we're going to catch up with first. And there she is. Moving closer and closer and not actually getting where we need to go. So, I mean, it's humorous. If you're watching at home, I think that's funny. She just thought she was coming to get her phone. There we go. So, no, why? I'm with you guys. I'm hanging out. I'm not sure why the sentence of please come over and be interviewed isn't really getting translated. All right. So, Bonnie DeBryan is down on the floor with your men's lead national champion, Guy McNamee.
Hi, everybody. We are here with our lead champion today, who is our double champion. First, Guy, I want to say happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you.
How are you feeling? And can you tell me a little bit about this route?
I guess first going into this comp, I was wasn't expecting to win at all. I was going in, have some fun. And then qualifiers, I did okay. Semis, did a bit better. And then the final route, when I looked, I was like, yeah, overhang, not so technical and just powerful stuff. I was in ISO, I was I'm gonna try to chop it. I'm gonna try it.
That's amazing. I mean, clearly you had some confidence because you took a minute, took a little cheeky smile to the camera. That was a beautiful moment. You didn't love the little section of the purple pocket.
No, I was here. I was wow, this is not comfortable at all. And I was I guess I was tentative to really fully commit into it, and until I knew that was the only way. Something I need to work on a little bit, but matching it felt better, and I just committed to that. So.
Well, I got to say you made us a little nervous because the match did not look good, but clearly you worked right through. And then at the last minute, was it a last minute decision to throw the heel up?
Yeah, it was. funny enough, like, I guess I was blind, but like, I was like, as you might have seen in the video, I was like grabbing the little foothold thing, and I was like, what? Oh wait, there's a hold like right to the right, and I totally missed it. And I was like, that was a little weird, but yeah, the heel hook definitely saved me, as in I would have just thrown to it and fallen off, but.
Well, honestly, I think you just did an impressive amount of climbing all weekend. Congratulations to our double champion.
Thank you. And then I just have to say this for Sam Tukavera.
Yeah.
Bell peppers, awesome.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
All right, Guy McNamee, national champion on your birthday. Well done indeed. And that is going to bring Sophie Buitendijk into the spotlight, your women's 2022 lead national champion.
Hi, everyone. Now we're here with our lead champion today, Sophie Buitendijk. How are you feeling?
I feel amazing. Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about how you were feeling after semis coming into finals?
Surprisingly relaxed. I was just like, I don't know. I was trying really hard to just like not overthink anything and just, I don't know, have fun, I guess.
Well, clearly you were not overthinking. In fact, you looked really smooth, almost intuitive climbing. I mean, thoughtful climbing, actually. I didn't think it was a particularly obvious sequence. Did you find that you found it easy to read, or did you find it tricky?
It wasn't that hard to read, but it was definitely really sketchy, and it felt like there was a lot of points where I could fall.
Right.
So, yeah, it was challenging, but yeah.
But you kept it together, yeah. This is your first podium, right?
Yeah.
And you just took gold. So that's pretty fantastic. What's coming up for you now?
Definitely a week of sleeping and resting because my body is wrecked. And then yeah, we'll see. I'm not quite sure yet. I don't have too many plans, but
You don't need to have plans. You just need to celebrate yourself today. Congratulations, and back to you, Pete.
All right, there you hear it from Sophie Buitendijk, your 2022 lead national champion. Ladies and gentlemen, the podium will be coming up shortly. I think we have managed to wrangle all of the athletes into the same place, at least, to get them on a podium. So don't go too far. I want to take a minute to thank you for hanging out with us today over the course of the weekend. If you watch the bouldering rounds, thank you so much for tuning in and being a part of our national championship experience. It's so great to be able to bring you the emerging and existing talents in Canadian climbing and getting to showcase their talents for you on this kind of stage. Putting the boulder and the lead event into the same weekend allows us to show you all of that coming through at the same time.
support to reach their goals. Pour aller plus loin que ceux et celles avant eux et pour laisser un sport meilleur à ceux et celles qui les suivront. Athletes Can represents members of Canada's senior national teams who compete at multi-sport and world championship events. Nous avons pour mission de parler d'une seule voix puissante en faveur d'un système sportif centré sur l'athlète, where athlete rights are respected, où les préoccupations des athlètes sont entendues et prises en compte, and where athletes influence key decisions made in Canada's sports system. Nous formons des athlètes leaders qui influencent les politiques du sport et inspirent une solide culture sportive. We're a safe and inclusive place to share your perspectives and concerns on the issues you care about. Et ensemble, nous suscitons et réalisons des changements. We were the first organization founded by national team athletes for athletes. Depuis, nous avons toujours été des leaders mondiaux en matière de représentation des athlètes. Join Athletes Can. Vous y êtes chez vous.